Hello, peeps and peepettes, and welcome to a second edition of Spec Commentaries. I'm your host, Spec Son of InYourHeadOnline.com, and as well as the host of The Secluded Paradigm, which can be found on InYourHeadOnline.com, as well as my YouTube page at www.youtube.com/Brightwave. But without further ado, I would like to first say thank you to each and every one of you who called to the first edition of Spec Commentaries, which was uploaded not only on Facebook.com/VSpecProd, but also on InYourHeadOnline.com, and as well as my YouTube page at www.youtube.com/Brightwave. This edition of Spec Commentaries on the second edition is going to be a little bit more positive, definitely more positive than my first one on basically my little mini rant on TNA and their invasion, this ECW so-called invasion that they're doing in preparations for Hardcore Justice. But this time I'm going to be definitely a lot more positive, and I'm going to discuss something that I really didn't know if I ever was going to say again. The vast improvement of WWE RAW over the last month and a half or so, really ever since this NXT storyline began. And major props to the WWE for finally doing something that I really felt they should have done a long time ago, and that's pretty much dissolved this WWE guest host concept that they've been plugging at us for over a year's period. The guest host concept, I think, really dragged the show down to such a degree that it was really hurting all of the angles that the WWE was trying to produce in order to build an audience, in order to get publicity, in order to reestablish their Raw brand as a very, very important entity that you had to watch every week. And I think that the WWE has done a good job of reevaluating the situation and realizing that the way they're really going to build an audience and the way they're going to improve their product is to make their wrestling angles the top priority of a Raw show. And I think they've done that extremely well by pushing guys like Randy Orton, who looks absolutely phenomenal. This guy looks like a bona fide main event guy, a real true blue chip face main event guy. I don't care what many people have been saying, like, oh, he doesn't look like a real face. I call your bluff. I think you're crazy. I think Randy Orton is the type of new generation Stone Cold / Rock edgy face character who's not a pure baby face, goody two shoes. He's not that. He's got with aggression. He did have to change much of his wrestling style to make him a great face, and that should be a lesson to the WWE. Not everybody has to be pushed like a John Cena to be a great face. You look at a guy like The Rock and Steve Austin and even Mick Foley to a certain extent. These guys had a flair about them as faces. They weren't goody two-shoes, but they had a personality and an edginess to their character that just made you not only respect them, but at the end of the day made you cheer for them. So the stuff that they're doing right now with Randy Orton, and specifically the angle that he's having with Sheamus, is really, really causing me to really like the way they're going with Randy Orton. I mean, I saw Raw this past Monday, and the altercation that he had with one of the Usos. I'm talking about Randy Orton. The way the angle was booked with the Miz, and that's another guy I'm going to talk about in a second. It's basically like a triangle kind of like angle they're going on with right now. Miz, of course, is the United States champion, and as well as the Money in the Bank winner. And then you have Sheamus, who is the WWE champion at the moment, and then you have Randy Orton, who's looking to regain the WWE championship. But I think the next time Orton wins the title, I think it's going to mean so much, and I also think it's something that could really, really spark a really good period for the WWE in terms of their fan interest. Randy Orton is a bona fide star, folks, and what he just owns his character right now. The Viper character really, really works for him, and I'm really glad that WWE is pushing him full-fledged face at the moment, but still maintaining that edginess to his character that hasn't dilapidated at the moment. That's just one aspect. I did mention Miz. Miz is another guy, a guy who I really didn't know would pan out. But the guy is just tremendous on the mic. He's very believable. He has that punkish heel type attitude. He's not a chicken, you know what, heel, but he is the kind of heel that gets under your skin, and he does it better, and I think, than even Edge at the moment. And I think Edge is a really great promo guy too, and he's on Raw, and they're actually doing some decent things with him. But I see for guys like Edge, for guys like The Miz and a guy like Randy Orton to be really, really strong in the WWE in the months and years to come. Also, I've got to give major props to how the WWE has handled the NXT storyline. You know, I really wasn't a big fan initially for the angle. I didn't think it would be as great as many people suspected. The first time they came out and they just attacked John Cena and everybody in sight, poor Justin Roberts was basically choked out with his own damn tie by the future endeavored Bryan Danielson, of course. But the way that entire segment went down, you knew that this had the makings to be something special, but I really didn't know if the WWE would maintain that, because it looked a lot like the NWO, but it was like, all right, will they push it like the NWO? And so far, they really haven't. They've done a really, really good job. And when I say they haven't dragged it down like the WCW eventually did with the NWO. The NXT angle is the best thing going right now in the WWE, right next to Randy Orton, in my opinion, and it's all on the Raw show. I'm going to go down the names of these cats and just talk about them a little bit, because I really think that if you haven't seen them yet, you really do need to. They've really built this angle up extremely well between the WWE Raw brass of John Cena leading, and then you have the NXT guys. Well, Wade Barrett is the blue chipper of the group. He's the leader. He's one of the best young talents in the business today. Someone I think is going to be a world champion relatively soon in the WWE. He has all the makings. He's a great promo guy, and he's a leader. You have a guy like a Darren Young, the so-called Black John Cena, who I think is a lot better than many people may think. I don't think he's like his peer, Heath Slater, who I think he is probably the kind of job guy of the group, but he's the, like, I mentioned this on the In Your Head boards, he's kind of like the little kid brother who thinks he's all that, but he gets his butt kicked. But if he's going to get his butt kicked, you have to go through the Nexus, and the Nexus they're not going to be, they're not going to be as lenient on you as they will be Heath Slater, who's one of their pals, but they'll beat up Heath if they have to beat him to straighten him up and let him know his role. But Heath is okay guy. Darren Young, I think, has more potential than people think. I'd love to see a program with him and Cena. Skip Sheffield and Tarver are just bona fide badasses. Michael Tarver is a great guy on the mic. I really didn't realize that at first, but upon further listening to him over the last several weeks, the guy can definitely deliver a promo. And Skip Sheffield, there's not much you can say about him. Coming to see where he originally came from with being the little country hick gimmick that he had with William Regal in NXT, and to see what he has done now with the Nexus as a badass guy, beating up Ricky Steamboat, calling him old man and everything. I think Skip is a powerhouse bully, and I think he's a new age JBL in the making. Really, really great guy without the comedy, and same thing with Tarver. Seymour guy. I mean, there's just so much talent in NXT. Otunga, I haven't even gotten to him yet, and I think he's good. And Gabriel as well. I think all these guys have a whole lot of talent to showcase, and the WWE has done a great job setting it up. A guy like Evan Bourne on Raw has done a tremendous job. They built him up through that tag team match he had with Cena. Great work with the WWE for building those guys up. Chris Jericho is kind of the dark horse guy on Raw right now. He doesn't get as much props as he should, but he keeps everything level, and his promo with Cena this past Monday showcased that. He keeps everything at an even keel. But overall, the WWE has done a tremendous job with Raw. I think the only weak links are the Divas division, but they're pushing Alicia Fox, and also the tag team division with the Usos and the Hearts. And I don't think that the WWE, I don't think there's just not enough tag teams in the company to really make it all work. They're just basically facing each other in different scenarios. But SummerSlam is shaping up to be fantastic. The WWE's pushing it extremely well, and it's definitely something I think you all have to keep your eyes on. But this is it for the second edition of Spec Commentaries. You all have a great day, and I'll check you out next time.